So to get to the air filters, first thing you need to do is obviously move the tank rearwards. So I've just got it tethered back at the moment, so it's out of the way. Essentially now I've drained it pretty much. That tank's out of the way. Now we've disconnected the multi-plugs for the ECU, unbolted the ECU itself, that's safely out of the way, and just basically gone round and unscrewed the top layer of screws, and that should allow us just blow off any loose dust. That should, oh, and also the sensor needs to be unplugged too, so we'll get that off, and away we go. So that's that, and that's the air filters ready to take out and clean. So with the air filters out and ready to be cleaned, we can now also go ahead and start removing the various main airbox screws and any hoses that are attached. So that'll be the next job. So we kind of end up with this. We disconnect, of course, the air temp sensor, the wire into the ECU, and get that out. That allows us to get the top part off to get to the air filters. Once you've done that, of course, you can get to the velocity stacks. They're marked left and right, just the two of them with 3 screws each. Then disconnect the secondary fuel rail, the injector wiring loom, just like 5 bolts I think for that in altogether. And then once you've got all that off, it allows you to access the base part of the actual airbox assembly itself. So just so you can see it on the bike now, these are the parts that are sort of left. You've got your ECU wiring there, you've got your secondary injector rail just there. We've got a few bits of rag in the throttle body inlets because we don't want to get any rubbish in the engine, of course. What else? We've got the pair and the breather hoses, so they're disconnected off the front of the box, and also various sort of ancillary shrouds and stuff like that as well to keep the water out. The main thing though now is that now we've done that, we can actually get to our throttle cables. So a bit more of a faff than it used to be on the old school carb fed little baby blades and stuff, but what that means now is we've got good access to replace the handlebar switchgear and the new throttle cables when they arrive. So yep, just I'm going to put everything back, well, not back together, but just cover it up gently now and just wait for the new parts. So we've taken the air filters out, of course, as part of getting the airbox apart. The good news is we do have K&N air filters. The bad news is they haven't been cleaned in quite some time, so they are due a service. The K&N air filters come with basically like a 1,000,000 mile or lifetime guarantee, because they're not really a paper element per se. It's like a cloth and mesh sort of arrangement. Anyway, what you basically need to do is to degrease them, because you can see on the insides we actually really get quite mucky in there, quite grotty. So we'll give them a gentle tap out, rinse them, degrease them. All the instructions are on the kit actually. You get a cleaning kit, which we'll show you now. So what we need to do is degrease the filter with this cleaner, which gets most of the sort of cack and the grime out, and then just give it a rinse, gentle low pressure rinse with some water, shake it out and leave it to dry naturally. Once it's dry, this is the famous kind of pink oil. You don't spray it too thick on there, it just forms like a tack coat on the material of the filter and helps to catch the debris, but you are supposed to see little pinprick holes in there, because at the end of the day the filter still needs to breathe, and it can't breathe through a big cloth full of oil, so it's only a gentle application. But yeah, so let's get on and start giving these a bit of a clean. And so despite having tapped a lot of the loose detritus out already, that's what happens with a quick swill and a little going over with a toothbrush on the inside. All that detritus has now come out. So I'm going to change the water, and we can actually use the proper degreaser cleaner now to get the oil traces out. And that's after the first little rinse. Obviously we'll be giving it a better clean in a minute, but it just goes to show the amount of cack that's in there. So yeah, that's it. Let's go and give her a proper clean. And here they are after a rinse, and also after we're back in focus. Apologies for that, a new camera is on its way, so bear with me. But yeah, so you can see now that if I hold it up to the light, it's still drip drying. but you may or may not be able to read, probably not actually, there it is, that you can see through now. You can see through the gauze, you can see the little holes. That means most of the general junk is out of there. So we just leave that to dry naturally now, and to be honest, I'll probably leave that until tomorrow, and then we can oil it up ready to go and put them back in once we assemble the airbox assembly. As if by magic, we've had a slight delay since the last little bit of filming, so we've had time for the filters to dry properly. I've just oiled this one. You can see that it's got that sort of classic pink K&N colour filter, whereas this one's sort of beige where it hasn't been done yet. So I'll just re-oil or should say oil this one for the first time so that they match, and then we can put them aside to dry. That's both of them done now. We've got just wiped off the excess from the plastic there with the cloth. If you hold these up to the light now, as before, you should still be able to see there'll be small pinprick holes in there, which allows the air to flow properly through. It still needs to be wicked into the actual material now, so it needs to soak in for 20 minutes or so. But anyway, that's all done. So that's the air filters sorted. So I think that's pretty much it now for today. The airbox assembly is all apart now, so we've got better access to the throttle cables, ready to put that whole assembly together once the new handlebar and switch gear etc. all arrives. Some great news, actually heading off tomorrow to pick up the other panels that I need, namely we need a replacement nose cone because that one's completely destroyed. So we've managed to find one in the correct colour scheme with only very minor damage, which is excellent. Also the tail unit is also present. The guy has both due to very fortunate circumstances. I'll just show you mine real quick. This is the one that came off the bike. It actually looks better on camera than it does in real life, but it's pretty much it's mullered, it's smashed, it's broken all over the place. So yeah, not really any good, not even really as a track part possibly. But anyway, so tomorrow we get to head off and pick those up. It's a 250-mile round trip, so an early start to go and get those, but that's the price you pay when you're trying to do the best job that you can by the bike. So more on that tomorrow. Okay, so that's it for us today here at Retro Restos. We've had a very productive day. We've got quite a bit done, and tomorrow is a road trip to pick up some new parts to keep this project moving along. So we don't have any subscribers at the moment. This is a very new channel for me, so please do like and indeed subscribe for more updates, and there'll be plenty more content to come. Obviously I'll be refining my technique as we go along, but yeah, do like and subscribe. It'd be great to have you on board, not just for this bike but other projects that we have, and indeed classic cars too. Thanks again.